All right, today we're going to move on. We're going to do section 5.5, simply called unit rates. And this should be review, should remember this from last year. But quickly, we're going to remind ourselves what a unit rate is. And a unit rate is simply a comparison of two measurements, one of which has a value of 1. So a comparison of two measurements, one of which has a value of 1. And that's what makes it a unit rate. For example, 1 pound of apples is $1.50. I could write this in a more easy way to write it as a fraction, and I could write it like this. I could say 1 to 150, and I could write pounds and dollars. And I can see that one of my units here is a value of 1. My unit is for the pounds. So that means if I wanted to get 2 pounds, it'd be easy for me to do the math. I could also calculate this in terms of my dollar value. So if I only had $10, I could easily see how many pounds of apples I could get. Okay? Let's take a look at another example. Now this one is already simplified, so sometimes we're going to come across one that we're going to need to turn into a unit rate. A cyclist pedaled 36 miles in 2 hours. And then we need to find out what the unit rate is. To do that, we would just write it as a fraction, and then we were going to simplify it the same way that we would have before if we needed to. So I'm going to use my hours, and this is going to be my 1. So I'm going to write 36 miles in 2 hours. And to simplify it, I'm just going to divide the top and the bottom by 2, which gives me, what is that, 18 miles per hour. So I could see the average that he bicycles and drive this way. Okay, our question could be, we're going to look at Hannah. Hannah runs track. And the rule from her coach, everyone runs 35 miles per week minimum. And we're going to see if she's on track to run that amount. So far, she ran on Sunday, she ran 3 miles. 6 miles on Monday. 5 miles on Tuesday. So the question is, how far has she run so far, and how can we turn this into a unit rate? Well, how I would do it is I can see that I have 3 days total so far, and we also have, 14 miles. Right? Yeah. 14 miles. Now, the question is she on track to run that many miles at once? Hang on, I think I may have written one of my numbers wrong. 1 second. 3 miles on Sunday, 6 miles on Monday, and 5 miles on Tuesday. I did. This should be 7 miles. Sorry about that. Monday was a big day to run, apparently. So our total would be, instead of 14 miles, we would be 15 miles. Now I can turn this into a rate pretty easily, and I can see that it would be 3 days. She runs 15 mile. And if I want to, I can flip it over. It doesn't really matter because the rate would stay the same. It's just how they relate to each other. I can say that she ran 15 miles in 3 days. And I really want to see this in terms of 1 day to turn it into a unit rate. So that's pretty easy because I can just divide by 3 to get a unit rate, which gives me 5 miles per day. Now the question is, if she continues at this rate that she's running, will she meet the minimum requirements from her coach by the end of the week? Okay, so I'm going to move it over here because I made a lot of space and mess over here. I am at 5 miles per day, and there are 7 days in a week. So let's see how many miles she would run the whole week. 1 times 7, 5 times 7. So in 1 week, she would run 35 miles in 7 days. And that's exactly the amount of miles that she needs to run. So she is on track. Funny pun. But she might want to run a little bit more than that because you don't want to miss the cutoff. So my recommendation is to run some extra. Okay, if you feel like you get this, actually I want you to do one more because we are going to do what kind of it looks like on the homework. So I have some notes from previous day. All that we're going to be doing on this homework is you're going to be turning things into unit rates. We're on example, example 4. Excuse me. And let's see. We have a car, and it got 45 miles for 3 gallons. Ooh, that's a terrible G. Of gas. And we're going to turn it into a unit rate. So we have 45 miles over 3 gallons. And I'm just going to turn this into a 1 on the bottom. And it's easy. I can just do 45 divided by 3 instead of simplifying. Because sometimes you might not be able to simplify at all. So 45 divided by 3. Looks like 15. So I have 15 miles for 1 gallon. Not a great mileage on this car. If you feel like you get it, go on ahead. I'm going to do, let's see, I'm probably going to do one more. All right. We're going to look at a part-time job. We spent 6 hours filing 850 folders. And we're going to turn that into a unit rate. So I want to know folders per hour because that's most useful to me. So I'm going to put 850 over 6, right? That's going to give me my folders per hour, my unit that I really want to look at. And all I'm going to do this time is divide by 6. So if I wanted, I could use a calculator, but I'm trying to practice my long division, so I'm going to do it this way. What is that? 4? I think I did something wrong. Hang on. 24. Let's check on my calculator. Not sure if I made a mistake or if the book made a mistake, because they made a mistake earlier in this section. 850 over 6. Yeah, I thought so. Okay. So I was right. Let's see. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 is in 40. We have 6. Subtract 4. Looks like I'm going to be repeating. Okay. I have about 142 folders, and I can use that fun squiggly line per hour. All right. Good luck.